Hello everyone, welcome to WorkSmart. Today we are going to cover one of the formula which is most popular in Excel is VLOOKUP. In today's content we are going to cover only four things. One is that how the VLOOKUP formula works as a basic uh, element. Second thing is that how we can use VLOOKUP by using combination of multiple data elements. Then we are going to see how we can use the dynamic reference in VLOOKUP, and lastly we'll see that what goes wrong in VLOOKUP and what are the precaution we have to ensure before we proceed with the final outcome. So I will be going not in this sequence, but I'll be keep on um, adding the attributes here which may be relevant at that point of time. So today we have this data here. This is vehicle log. It is an electronic vehicle log generated by a system. So transaction ID is nothing but the trip ID. Vehicle ID is basically uh, the code given to a vehicle or the sequence given to a vehicle. This is the dummy vehicle number. So you have quite 40 of them which are repeating over a period. And there are some NAs, I don't know, maybe the data is incorrect or may not be relevant for this working. This is the route name. This is mostly relating to Maharashtra. So you have Pune, you have Prabhat Road, which are mostly towards Pune area. This is the final kilometer for the trip for this vehicle. This is the shift name. We believe that this is a shift vehicle which goes at 8:45 or 8 to 5:45 in out timing. This is the entry date. Entry date is basically when the entry was made for this trip. This is updated by the user one. So we have around 4 users here, and this is the approval details. So this is the date when the tip got approved. So we require to use VLOOKUP to identify that how we can correlate the related data which need to be looked into from a set of table. So how the VLOOKUP formula works is that it first requires to know that what is the data you're looking for. So if you're looking for, let's say, this vehicle ID XX12FZ 0B0B, then we need to tell that okay, look for this value from a table here or a reference of range of cells, and then we have to tell VLOOKUP that okay, you need to return me the related column or related data what is required. Then we have to tell it that I require the exact match. So I'll start doing this here. So what we are going to bring it here is that we are going to bring the final kilometer. So I'm going to capture the heading here. So we need to look for this vehicle's final kilometer. So I'm just going to apply a VLOOKUP formula. So the value is VLOOKUP. Then if you see it says lookup value. So we have to tell okay, you need to look for this vehicle number. Then it says table array. Table array is nothing but the table data which you will be looking for. One important thing in VLOOKUP to work is that whatever the data you're looking should be on the leftmost column. So if I take a data here and go to the entire set of data and try to do a lookup value, it will not work. Let us show you that. So I have given the reference from column A to column I, but my data is in column C. Then what I have to tell? I have to tell that which is the column number it needs to return. So if you see, if I as I mentioned, VLOOKUP works from the leftmost portion. So if I require based on this data, it should be 1 2 3 4. So 4 should be sorry, it should be fifth. Fifth should be my return value or the column which I require. I press fifth, and then if you see it says true approximate match or false exact match. So what I will do, I will put 0. If you put 1, that means it is a approximate match. then close it. If you see, it resulted as a error. It says NA. So for VLOOKUP formula to work, what we need to ensure is that our reference is correct and the data from where the lookup should be done should be the leftmost corner. So now let's really apply the formula with the correct reference. So we'll do VLOOKUP. We need to have column K, then go to vehicle number, select the cell. I'm going to freeze it. Then I require third one, that is 1 2 3. So I'll press 3, then 0. So I get the kilometer here. Now once you apply this, what you can do, you can just drag it to all the related data set. So here one thing, if you see what VLOOKUP is doing, it going to this table or the table array, it starts looking from the first cell, first column. So it will start looking from C4 and it will keep on searching till it meets the condition here. So if you see, the first condition is 60. It met 60 at the first row. It resulted into 60. Similarly, XX2 BT02B 24B is also in the fifth line and it resulted on the fifth data. But if you see, this is not the vehicle, this vehicle number is not unique, or it is not repeating only once. So if you see, all of them have mode 60 also. So is VLOOKUP looking into the same data and every time? No, it does not do that. So what it does, it looks into the first cell and then returns the value. How you can validate that is, if you change it 30 here, you'll see the data changes here and your remaining data content are ignored. So if you filter on this vehicle ID, if you say 60, it will come 60. And if you delete this ID, the fourth one, so let's do that. If you delete this ID, it takes the next available one. So it goes to the 61, the one with having a 60. So if you go here, filter it out, you can see it goes by the 60, but it is hiding it here, but ultimately that's how it works. So now it is not a wise solution when you are using a VLOOKUP and you have same data repeated in the file with a different category. So whenever you're working with the VLOOKUP formula, you need to ensure that the data what you're looking should be unique in the table. So there are multiple options where you how you can achieve that. So one of the key element anywhere in the analysis, wherever you are doing for anything relating to trip or anything relating to shipment or anything relating to uh, more frequent data, is date and time. So how it happens is that in a day, in a certain time, a vehicle can go once. It cannot repeat multiple times. So we don't have the timing here, so we have the date here. So what we'll do, we'll try to create a unique data field with a combination of vehicle number and date, and then bring out the result of that. So what happens is that then we can get a unique data set for that. A new column here, and I'm going to give a unique key based on vehicle number. And before that, what we have to do, we have to bring the unique key for in and out, because a vehicle can be going to the same direction and coming again on the same route. So what we can do, we can categorize it based on in and out. So what we'll do, we'll insert a column and then bring the type. So we are going to add in here and fill the data. Then select the other type, which is out, make it out. and then we name it as a type. Now we are going to bring the unique key, that is vehicle number. I'm going to use ampersand. I'm going to use text because I need date format to be same. So what I'm going to do, I just have to give the reference of this entry date, then comma, then type, that is mm slash dd slash yy, and I'm going to add the type. Basically what I am trying to achieve here is that I am trying to sanitize the data or help VLOOKUP identify the correct data based on the key combination. So this becomes my key. Now let's say I need to know how many vehicles, like for these vehicles on this day, how many were out. So what I am going to do, I am going to do a VLOOKUP. So as you have previously seen, VLOOKUP works how it is, like you have to give VLOOKUP, you have to give the lookup value. So now you need to have a lookup value of this along with this along with this. So I need all the three data here before I can do a VLOOKUP. There is one way to do it. You can go here, bring the column M, then we need the same text, give the reference to column O. We need it to be frozen, so we use dollar before that, and then the type, that is mm slash dd slash yyyy. Then we also require the out and phrase it. So if you see, the data is similar in terms of what we were looking here. So now we can just drag this formula here, and you see the data is matching. Now if you what you can do, rest is same, like you can use the VLOOKUP formula, uh, go for this reference, keep the column on the leftmost, and then use 4 as a return value. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the entire data, uh, freeze it, 4 and 0, and close bracket. So this gives me the unique data set, and if you see, this is missing here, so we do not have the corresponding data associated with this state. Now the same thing we can achieve by putting all this condition within the VLOOKUP formula. Let's try to do that. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to erase the reference because we deleted it, came here. So we are going to do the same thing. We are going to give the reference of column M. We need to add the ampersand, again text, then we give this reference to column N, phrase it, type, this is mm slash dd slash yyyy, then again close bracket, that closes the text condition, then ampersand, then out, freeze it, and we are good to go. And if you bring this formula down, it becomes same as the previous one. So this is how you can achieve using multiple conditions. So if you change the date here, like let's say you make it as a 1st January 2019, the data changes. If you make it in, it automatically changes accordingly. If you change the date again to 9/22 2018, it again, it does not come because we don't have 2018, so we can go to 2014 and you can see the data here. So, and another thing what is very helpful here is that in case you have NA, so let's create one data set which is NA here. Let's add K here, so we know definitely there is a error here. So before that, let's simplify this. Let us remove this data and uh, do it the standard one. So what we'll do, we'll just do a VLOOKUP so we can simplify the formula. VLOOKUP M with respective data. So we have to have column D as a vehicle ID, Then we need to have the third one, and we are going to use the freeze it, comma 3, comma 0, and close it. So this is the data what we get it here, and we are going to make it as a k. So we're going to add it as a k, so we know there is a node data and it becomes n. So one way you can eliminate is that you can replace the value. A lot of organization and a lot of people I have seen, they replace the value of the NA uh, with and then further replace it by control H. So they remove the formula, like they just remove the formula at all the cells, select the NA, and then control H, put NA, and then do a uh, do a replacement. So that way what happens is that it removes the data, uh, but I don't find it very effective where you can actually do it through formula. So one of the formula is using if error. So how if error works is that uh, it gives additional value in case the output of the VLOOKUP is error. So we need to type if error before that, before VLOOKUP formula, and then we have to go to the end uh, of the formula, uh, then put comma, and then put double quote. Then you close this. So what it happens is that if so how Excel formula works is that it always starts from the innermost bracket. So first of all, it will do a VLOOKUP. Then if VLOOKUP is having an error, if the result is error, what it will do, it will put a blank. So that's how if error formula works. Only in case of a error, wherever you have a match, it will not. So if you see, I just replace the formula here. For this cell, I get blank here. Let's say you don't want to have blank and you need to flag it for check. What it will do, it will go and bring a check. So whatever you write here, it defines in that way. So this is a very useful aspect, and even if you replace with the formula, like if you remove the formula, it still remains as a character and you can utilize it. So this covers up the VLOOKUP aspect of it. So a few important things what we need to ensure is that whenever you do VLOOKUP, you always ensure that you freeze the related table array. Table array is nothing but the reference of the column or cells what you're looking for. Otherwise, what happens is that the cells keeps on moving and your reference will be incorrect. Let us show it with the example. I'm going to apply VLOOKUP again for this column M. Then I'm going to go to column D till column K and go down. I'm not going to freeze it, so I'm not putting the dollar sign here. Then I'm going to do comma 3, comma 0, because I did absolute exact match, then enter. So if you see, my first formula is taking the reference of column D to column K, because this is what I have defined. If I drag this entirely down, what happens is that if you see, as you go down, the cell also keeps on moving. So remember, when you're using a VLOOKUP formula, you may be looking into a data which could be at the upper portion or lower portion of the data set. So that's why it is always important that you freeze the related table array or lookup area. So how you do it, by quickly go to this double dot and then put F4. So what it did, it automatically adds the dollar for you, and now you paste the formula and you can see wherever you go the reference remains the same. So this is one of the important thing to look out while you are applying the formula. Second important thing is that while you say you require absolute or true match or approximate match, 0 is false and true is 1. So if you put true, it may give you incorrect data which may be a approximate match. So let us avoid that and always use 0 or false, so you get the correct data. In case you have more than one data in the data set from where you're doing the VLOOKUP, the pivot is the VLOOKUP is going to take the only the first available match. So in case you want to avoid that, you need to have a correct key combination which is unique. If you don't have a key combination, you need to create one, or you need to figure it out how to do that. Another easy way to do that is you can create a pivot out of this table and use the pivot to do the VLOOKUP data. So this pretty much covers the VLOOKUP. Uh, Another aspect what may come very handy to you is that while we are working with Excel, sometime we have more than one data in many of the places. Like we have to refer one file here, we have to refer another file there, we have to have multiple files. So what you can do, you can use the VLOOKUP formula to achieve that. So let's say uh, in this case we have a NA here, and because we don't have any vehicle of that name, so let us create a replica of this. I'm going to move it into the same file as a create copy, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to add this into one of the vehicle number. So that way what happens, we get a match here. But if you go to here, so this is the new file, and if you go to the old file, you still see there is a NA. So using VLOOKUP and if error, what you can do, you can achieve that by doing a multiple VLOOKUP between different files. So now let's say the first, you have similar 12 months of data, which is of a payroll or vehicle shipment, and you need to have the vehicle total here, or you need to have the final kilometer here for the related day, which are in a different tabs. So what we are going to do, we are going to achieve that. So we already have this formula here, which is effectively working. So what we are going to do, we are going to put if error, and then again we are going to apply VLOOKUP. What we are going to do, we are going to do VLOOKUP again, same column M, but now my reference will change to a different table, which is VLOOKUP2. I'll come here where I have this new vehicle ID in line 7. I need column 3, that is the final kilometer. Go till end, freeze it, then 3, then I require the correct exact match, then close the and enter. So this says that, do you want to accept this correction? Because we are using if error and we have not closed the last packet, it is showing up. Otherwise it is okay. You just press yes. Now if you drag the formula, it brings the information here. But this information is derived from this sheet. How you can check that? You can go and make it as 1000 column F, and you will see your data in VLOOKUP is changing. So this is how you can use multiple VLOOKUPs to achieve the desired data. And it is really helpful when you have multiple Excel files which inherit the data and the columns are not equal. So let's say that why I'm saying the columns are not equal is that the making the data consolidated one in one sheet is going to consume more time than the effective output of the file. So the cost benefit analysis, if you do, if it says that your data sanitization will going to take more time, you can use this formula to identify from different files whether you can achieve this. So this is one of the important thing. Yes, it does make the processing capacity congested. So what it does, it after looking into this file, it goes to the second file and again start looking for the data. So the more you keep on adding, it slows down the processing. So unless you have a good processing capacity, I'll avoid adding multiple layers of it. Some people, what they do, they just achieve this by replacing the value of Na, then filter it out on the Na, again reapplying the formula with the respective sheet, and that's how they eliminate. So they eliminate the available options, whichever are matched, and focus on the remaining NAs and start looking into the different tab. So that, I feel, it is not a very user friendly approach, or it does not help much, but this is how you can achieve. And second thing is that in Excel, under formula, you have something called calculate sheet, calculate now, calculate option. You can click here and select on manual, and then you can apply the VLOOKUP formula, and once you're done, you can select calculate sheet or calculate now, and then you can use F9. So how it happens is that it calculates whenever you press F9 only. So that's how the computing capacity is managed. So this is one of the important thing what you can do, and don't forget to make it automatic after you have done this. So this covers today's session. So we covered VLOOKUP formula basic, VLOOKUP using combination, dynamic reference, and when lookup goes wrong. Hope you liked this tutorial. Uh, Let me know your thoughts on this on the comment section, or in case you need any uh, individual support, feel free to drop me a mail in the below mentioned address. Thank you. Have a good rest of the day.